Hey millionaire, most of us have been playing the lottery for years, waiting for our moment when we finally hit the jackpot. It does happen, but just imagine that. Not only do you find out you really won the lottery, but cameras capture the moment when you find out you're a millionaire. Seems crazy? Well, it has happened to a few super lucky winners before. These people are actually finding out their tickets were winners as they were being filmed. That's gotta be a pretty weird experience, but it sure makes for interesting viewing. Let's find out all about these excited lottery winners. And we're starting with this mystery man. Back in 2012, the Powerball saw a huge jump in ticket sales. Nobody had won for 2 months, and everyone was rushing out to buy a ticket to the huge rollover jackpot, which of course meant the jackpot just kept growing. At one point, tickets were selling at a rate of 130,000 every minute. That's a lot of tickets and a lot of money going into the prize pot. By the time the draw rolled out, the jackpot had rolled over 16 times, and with all the ticket sales, it was now worth a whopping $587.5 million. That meant at the time, it was the second largest jackpot in the history of America. So you can imagine the excitement the winners must have felt when they found out that they were the ones that had a winning ticket. That's the excitement you can see in this video. The jackpot was split between 2 winners, but that still meant that the man in this clip had won an insane amount of money. He bought the ticket in Arizona, in a suburban area just outside Phoenix. Apparently, he played the lottery a lot before moving to Arizona, but since arriving at his new home, he only played twice. After buying this jackpot-winning ticket, he totally disappeared. Everyone was talking about the mysterious Arizona winner who hadn't come forward to claim the giant prize. When he finally surfaced in this video, he wasn't in Arizona. He was on the other side of the country in Maryland. The reason why he took his lottery tickets all the way across the country is still a mystery, but what's not a mystery is the win. You can clearly see him checking the tickets before discovering he was the winner of a giant jackpot. It looks like he can't believe what he's seeing, so he runs around the store showing everyone the ticket like he's trying to get them to confirm he's not crazy. Then he dashes out into the street and disappears. We can only guess how stressful it must be to carry around a piece of paper worth that much money, but he mainly just seemed excited. He chose to remain anonymous, so we still don't know his name or what he did with the money, but we do know he chose to take the lump sum. That means he took home $192 million before taxes. I'm sure you'll agree, that's a lot of cash. We also know that he'd put together a team of financial experts and lawyers before claiming his prize. Hopefully, that means he spent his money wisely. The family he split the prize with chose the same lump sum option. The Hills family were the other lucky winners. Mark was a mechanic and Cindy was an office manager before switching to being a full-time mom to their adopted daughter. The night before they found out they'd won, Cindy had said to her daughter that big wins like that probably never happen. Good thing she was wrong. They said they planned to stay in Missouri after their win, but they also wanted to travel a bit. They were thinking they might even adopt a second child now that they had all that money to make sure the kid had a good life. That seems like a really worthy way of spending a lottery win. Can you click subscribe faster than the lives of these winners changed? You have just 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And you never know. We might just help you out if you win one day. But this isn't the only time a lottery winner has been caught on camera as he discovers he's won a life-changing sum of money. This group of 5 friends had been buying lottery tickets as a group for years. They all lived near Ottawa at the time, working in the IT department for the federal government. They were really close friends, even traveling together with their families, but they did this every week, with each friend taking a turn to purchase a lottery ticket. This time, it was Brian Rimmond's turn to buy a ticket, but incredibly, he nearly forgot. He remembered to pick one up at the very last second, only because his car almost ran out of gas on the way home on Friday the 13th. That's meant to be an unlucky day, but not for Brian and his friends. While Brian was filling up, he remembered that he didn't have a lottery ticket yet, so he went into the gas station store to pick one up just hours before the drawing took place. Sure, it's normally not luck to almost run out of gas, but this time it was. The ticket was a winner for their friends. The next morning, Brian checked the ticket on an app and was stunned when he saw the number 60 million appear on the screen. He didn't believe it, so he rushed off to the nearest lottery machine to check it again. This machine said the same thing. Then he ran back to his car, locked the doors, and he had started crying before any of his friends answered the phone. Later, they all went to check the ticket together one last time. Still, the group didn't really believe they'd won.
So here are your 5 winners for the Lotto Max $60 million prize.
This was their last try to confirm that they really had won big. You can see the moment in this clip. You can tell they're trying to act normal as they walk into the store. But when the clerk checks the ticket and realizes they've won, he's almost as shocked as if he'd been the one who bought the winning ticket. He can't believe these guys have won $60 million. When the group finally accepted that they really are millionaires now, you can see the joy spread across their faces. What did the group do with the money? Well, the last time the news heard a word about them, they were all still working at their normal jobs. The group said at their lottery press conference that they'd heard horror stories about lottery winners blowing all their cash, and they didn't want to become one of them, so they weren't going to make any big decisions straight away. They clearly decided that having a stable job was a pretty good idea, although one of the friends said he might want a new house. I think if you're a millionaire, you should definitely pick a house you really love. But they all agreed that family comes first. What would you do if you won $60 million with your closest friends? Tell us exactly what your plans would be in the comments. And keep watching. The most unbelievable story is still coming up. Jessica Macaron probably would have said the same thing about family coming first, except her family had been having some serious bad luck. The New Jersey native was working as an attorney at the time, but she'd recently lost both her dad and her uncle, and the tragic news had hit her mom really hard. The whole family was struggling with all the bad news, but she worked near a newsstand, and one day she decided she'd purchase a Powerball ticket. After all, the jackpot at the time was a whopping $435 million. With jackpots that big, you don't even need to get all the numbers to win a good amount of cash. When she went back to check her numbers, she was surprised to find a TV camera crew at the newsstand. But she didn't mind. She let them film her while she checked her ticket. And that's why we have this amazing clip of the moment she found out she won.
Are you serious?
Are you kidding? What are you? Oh.
Congratulations. Oh, damn.
$2 million?
She hadn't hit the jackpot, but she had got every number except the Powerball, which meant she won $1 million. That's already a pretty big win, but Jessica had added on an optional extra game, a $1 power play option, which many of you will already know is an option that doubles any money you win. So Jessica was actually $2 million richer. You can see in the clip she kind of thinks that this is a joke. After all, what are the chances of winning the lottery while you're live on TV? But when she finally accepted that it wasn't a setup and she really was a millionaire, you can see how excited she was. She immediately grabbed the nearest person she could find to get a huge celebration hug. We can only guess what an amazing feeling that was. It was especially great because she can finally give her mom some good news after all the tragedy her family had been through. What's the craziest bit of luck you've ever had? Tell us in the comments, but we bet it still won't be as crazy as the story we're about to tell you. Listen to this. This is all pretty unbelievable. It's not often you get to watch someone's life change on camera, but none of these stories can come close to being as impossible as Bill Morgan's story. However, this Australian's life became something out of a Netflix series before he even touched a lottery ticket. Let's start at the beginning of his incredible story. In 1992, Bill was a truck driver in Australia until one day when tragically, he was involved in a truck crash straight out of a horror story. He was almost completely crushed in the accident, but he was pulled from the wreckage by rescuers who rushed him to the hospital. Nobody could believe it, but he was still alive when he arrived. In a race to save his life, doctors injected him with a drug that was meant to help him, but instead, Bill's luck somehow got even worse. Nobody knew it, but he was severely allergic to the drug that had just been injected straight into his bloodstream. The allergic reaction caused Bill's unconscious body to have a fatal heart attack. You heard that right, fatal. And that was it. Bill was dead. For most people, that definitely would have been the end of the story, but not Bill. He was dead for a whole 14 minutes, but somehow, the incredible doctors managed to bring him back. He had been given a second chance, almost. There was one small problem. Bill was alive, but he didn't wake up. After a week in a coma, the doctors gave his family the bad news. Bill would probably never wake up again. They advised his family to turn off Bill's life support machines, but Bill's family refused to listen. They felt it was only a matter of time before Bill woke up, and they wanted to give him the chance to do that, even if the doctors didn't believe it. Almost a week later, 12 days after he slipped into a coma, Bill's family was proven right. Bill finally woke up. Doctors were stunned, but there's no doubt Bill's luck wasn't working the way normal people's luck does. After all, most people don't come back to life. It took Bill a little while to get back on his feet, almost a year in fact. But like we said, coming back to life isn't a normal thing to do, and it's gotta be a bit of a difficult journey. Still, he made it. And miraculously, doctors informed him that he had no lasting side effects from his accident or from dying. As incredible as it sounds, it was like it never happened, and he was going to grab his second chance at life with both hands. He started his new life by getting himself a new job, which he liked a lot more than truck driving, especially after the accident. Then he finally gathered the courage to propose to his girlfriend Lisa. She happily said yes. Bill thought he couldn't be any happier, but he figured, since luck was clearly on his side, he should buy a lottery ticket. So he picked up a scratch-off ticket. You already know where this is going. He won. His big win was a brand new car worth about $11,500. He couldn't believe his luck, but the story doesn't end there. This is where it starts getting really weirdly lucky, even by Bill's standards. By now, his incredible story had started getting attention from the local Melbourne news. Like most people, they just couldn't believe his luck. So they grabbed some cameras and asked Bill if he'd come down to the local store to tell them his story. And here's the crucial bit. They wanted him to act out his big lottery car win. Bill agreed, so he went down to the store with the camera crew. Obviously, the easiest way to act out his scratch-off ticket win was to just pick up a real scratch-off ticket. So that's what Bill did. He scratched off the ticket on camera. But he was not hoping to win anything, obviously. It was just so the cameras could capture the reenactment of when he won the car. But then something incredible happened. Bill won again, and the camera captured the whole thing. This time, as he loudly tells the cameras, he won 250,000 Australian dollars.
I just won 250,000. I'm not joking.
You're not, are you? Really?
I just won 250,000.
In case you're wondering, that's just a little less than 170,000 US dollars. In other words, it's a pretty big win for someone who wasn't even playing the game. He makes a point of shouting, "I'm not joking," because he can clearly tell the camera crew doesn't believe him. You can't blame them. Nobody's that lucky. But he really had won. You can then see in the clip just how emotional he gets about another big win before he quickly calls his fiancée to tell her the good news. Not bad for someone who could have been dead, huh? Like this video? Then you need to watch this one.